All right, guys, we should be live. Let me know if you can see and hear properly right now. I'm just reading some of these comments real quickly. Today's video should be out in just a second. Um, I tried to get that video out as soon as possible, and I announced this stream in that video. So we should get more people rolling in once that video comes out. I accidentally slept in this morning. I was planning on doing the video plus the stream. It just got to a later start, so that's why we're where we're at here, which is just behind. I would say. I would say. So I apologize for that. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope nobody is in the direct path of this that is watching. Um, I really hope everybody got out. That's ultimately what I'm hoping for the most. This is probably going to be a pretty long live stream with lots of breaks for me, including a breakfast break, maybe a lunch break. I'm going to take plenty of breaks so that we can try to stream as long as possible, if that makes sense. Where I'm taking breaks, kind of refreshing, getting my throat in good condition, drinking tea. I like to do that. That usually helps out quite a bit. Things of that nature, and try to just get as much longevity as possible. My throat tends to not do good with long times of speaking, so we're gonna try our best today. If you're a returning live stream viewer of ours, it's been months, but you probably know that by now that I don't do that well. Um, so as of now, this storm is either a category 5 or might as well be a category 5. It's listed as 155 miles per hour. It needs to be 157 for a category 4. I'm assuming that since 8 a.m., this has intensified by 2 miles per hour. I think I've seen a lot of people assuming that. I've heard a lot of people saying it's a category 5, it's a category 5. We haven't gotten that on an official National Hurricane Center update, but it's safe to say because even if it isn't, it is so close, it doesn't even matter really. It needs to be treated as a category 5 because it is unnoticeably close to being a category 5. You would just never notice the difference between a category 4 of this nature and a category 5, if that makes sense. Uh, I'm just reading through some of these comments. Welcome in, everybody, by the way. Let's see. Sheila's a vocal coach. That's cool. I probably need to invest in a vocal coach, actually. That would probably go a long way for me. Gonna be a long day for family and friends. Absolutely. This is WSV3. It's been around for years. It's a really cool radar program. Why am I using radar? Well, radar is going to reflect more of what's happening at the ground. Satellite, you can have some very tall clouds that aren't leading to as many impacts, but this is showing you where the worst of the worst bands are taking place, actually. Let's see. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope nobody's in the direct path of this storm. Is anybody actually in Florida right now in the stream? We might even be able to get some, let's see. I need to find out where we have radar sites. I want to do a little like experiment here. This is going to be cool. I would like to switch over here and try to get NextRad data here with the radar. This is going to be much higher definition. Here we go. So look at this. This is going to give us a much clearer view. We're going to get less frames actually, but this is so much more HD at this point. We can find the small details, and you can see that outer ring there. And if you can't, I'm sure you can, but it is going to be this. I actually need to switch my color because there's a whole lot of yellow going on right now. We'll switch to black. I think this is going to be a clearer depiction. Kind of just this ring here, just outside of the center of the storm, which is obviously in the middle of our eye here. that is going to be the worst of the worst conditions. And we can see that this is approaching areas near Cape Coral right now. It's been moving almost directly northward all morning, but it has kind of shifted slightly to where it's now turning east. So I would say it's been kind of moving north like this, and it's finally starting to really turn in at this point, just from what I can see here. A lot of people from Tampa. Let's see. Because I just asked you guys a second ago. Somebody asked what the current wind speeds are. Um, the last official update we got from the National Hurricane Center was 155 on an actual outlook, which is 2 miles per hour away from being a Category 5. That was at 8 a.m. That was 2 hours ago. So it is sort of safe to assume that this has uh, taken on an extra 2 miles per hour since then. Or at least it's a very, very good possibility with the trajectory in the direction of where the storm's been going, which is rapid intensification. This storm could be a lot stronger than 155 currently. Um, we're going to get an update here very soon, I think at 11. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting, actually. All right. Let's see. I'm sharing the live stream with the video that just went up. Making sure that's properly shared there. It's good to get the links out and everything. Just so as many people can tune in as possible here to the stream, and especially if they're in Florida. Let's see. I'm terrible at typing and talking at the same time, so I'm trying to keep talking for you guys, but it's like hard for me for some reason. I don't know why. Um, Definitely a surprising morning, I would say, for many. As we went to bed last night and it was a mid-level Category 3, looked like it might not even get up to a Category 4 actually, which was definitely a little bit shocking in the lower intensity direction. And then to wake up and hear that this is rapidly intensified, not only just overnight, but mostly since about 4 or 5 a.m., we've seen this rapid development. So it hasn't been just the entire night, it's been actually just the last few hours. It's gone crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, it just I I'm not shocked. You guys have heard me say in my videos, if you've been tuning in, that I think Category 5 is certainly possible in that rapid development with this one. I wasn't buying the weakening, really. The weakening before landfall. Since the very beginning, you can check out my first videos. I've had a terrible feeling about this storm, that this was going to be a big one. And I just was not buying the weakening before landfall. I've heard it so many times, and I've seen it not pan out so many times, and you get kind of scarred from that. And it's always better to assume the worst in these types of weather scenarios and just get out and be like, okay, well, it could be this bad, so get out. Instead of being like, well, it could be this weak. Um, it's one of those things where you got to have a little bit of a more pessimistic outlook with weather, only to protect yourself and your property, of course. Um, Obviously, it's good to be hopeful, but it's good to be hopeful from a distance, I would say. Is a good way to put it. Um, uh, okay. All right. Now I'm trying to get this out to the Facebook. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at multitasking. I wish I just could do it. I don't know. Some people are different. My girlfriend is great at it, and then I can't even be looking at my phone and talk at the same time. But I feel like she can do four things at once. I don't know how it's possible, guys. Once I get all this shared, though, I'll focus back in on the stream for sure. Let's see. So I'm gonna ask again, since there's probably more people in the stream now. Where's your location? Are you guys in Florida? And if so, where are you at in Florida? I'd be very curious to hear, just so we can kind of have some references of locations where there's actually people at. I got all those links out, so I'm coming back to the stream. Rest assured. Is the thumbnail not what I set it to? Hold on. I gotta check something, guys. We're gonna do this. No, that's not it. It's been too long. Here we go. Yeah, I'm here, but it's just gonna say that for a second. I need to see because I set the thumbnail as one thing, and I feel like it's not that thing. It's kind of annoying. Just a day in the life, right? No, it's showing up as what I set it as. I saw something on my phone that made me think it was not that. So when you guys clicked, did it show up as just the direct weather with lightning behind it, or did it actually have satellite imagery and like show the hurricane? That's the key question. Because I'm seeing both right now, which makes no sense. Like depending on where I'm looking at it at. I'm just gonna like click it in again and save. Okay, good. Yeah, because when I go to my homepage on my channel, it's showing up as just like my backsplash on my channel, which is weird. Uh, okay, let's go back to radar imagery. I just didn't want to risk showing anything sensitive there on the actual channel as I was surfing through the settings. So that's why I had to switch it to that page. But we're back, so rest assured. So we can see here, I think the biggest thing to talk about is that right here, I forget what they call this beach, but we can see that the actual eye wall is now hitting for the first time here these areas. Sanibel, what do they call this island? Is it Sanibel? Is that actually what they call that? I feel like it had a different name anyway. This beach right here, and I think this is an area where they have a bridge that comes across, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's like this. Anyway, I think this is a pretty popular beach here and lots of beach houses and stuff. So there is actually stuff here. I'm used to like North Carolina, Virginia, where there's islands that are kind of just there with not a lot of stuff. But down here in Florida, they utilize every little beach, I feel like, which is a good thing. But there is stuff here. This is not some vacant island with just, you know, animals and trees. This is definitely where structural damage can take place. So this is gonna be pretty interesting to see, and we're gonna get some reports probably coming in soon. Um, um, so we'll get to see what this storm is really made of. Unfortunately, um, definitely worse than anticipated. Though I am glad that I've been mentioning. You know, it's kind of as a weather person, it's kind of scary putting your like gut feeling out there, where it's not really something that a model is showing, but it is something that you feel like based on experience could happen. Because if it goes wrong, it's it's easy to get that part wrong, right? But for days now, I've just been feeling like Category 5 is possible, and I just put it out there. My motto has always been, I'd rather be honest and be wrong than be kind of trying to hide information to reduce panic or something like that, which I feel like is much more of the mainstream way. That's where I'm glad that I'm just a YouTuber and not somebody that's actually on the news. Nobody's telling me what I can and can't say, really. Obviously, there is limits, but I love being able to just be honest and raw and just trying to help my viewers out, get the best information out there, and help you guys, regardless of if, um, you know, anybody thinks I should or shouldn't. I love it. Um, do we have any mods in the chat? I do not feel like we do. I haven't seen one at least. That's going to be something that would be good. So we were talking a minute about a couple of different things. First off, we have this main eye wall in here, which is this one right outside of, you guessed it, the eye. That is going to be where the worst of the conditions are in this orange band. You can see it's actually a little bit more orange there. That is the worst of the winds and just the worst of the conditions. This band here is going to be kind of your outer wall, and this is kind of the second worst conditions, I would say. That's where, you know, you get that first bit. I mean, it's probably category 1 or category 2 status in that outer band, which is insane to think about. So it's probably pretty crazy out there, but it is just nothing compared to this inner wall that we see here. And then what we get is a little bit of quiet in between. So you get a little bit of a break here. We can see where there's for a while there was no precipitation or anything happening there. Probably the winds died down a little bit, the rain died down a little bit, and now this inner band, the worst of the worst, is coming. So you got through this, and now you're getting through round 2. And then I think the worst part for areas that are being directly impacted, if you think about it, is the outer wall hits, this inner wall hits, and then the other side of the inner wall is going to have to hit, and then the other side of the outer wall has to hit. So you get 4 bands basically of terrible, terrible, terrible conditions. And on top of all of that, this storm has stalled to a halt. Like, it is slow, slow, slow. So it's just really just a recipe for disaster. And when we think about it, Port Charlotte here, I was talking about this earlier and trying to explain. I think this is a great opportunity to explain this further. Obviously, we know the storm is rotating just like this. And once this band, this one right here I'm talking about, that's heading in this direction rapidly, gets to where it's heading up into this bay here. If we can see the outline. Yeah, so we see there's a bay here. I'll draw a thicker outline here. There's a bay right here near Port Charlotte, everything. We have lots of areas here, even here going towards Fort Myers and Cape Coral and everything. That's kind of some bay areas. We're going to get this water forcing its way up these bays, and obviously that's a recipe for terrible, terrible storm surge, especially once the wind is pushing directly northward into this bay at Category 4/Category 5 status. That's going to be out of control, and I think that's where the potential for just historic impacts really lies, especially historic in terms of this area. Really bad. Really, really bad. Let's see. I'm trying to read some comments here. Welcome into the stream. For those of you just joining, I really, really hope that everybody is out of the way of this and they're, safely a few states away just watching this out of curiosity. Will Jacksonville get power outages? It's really tough to say. I can't say for certain. This storm, is a very major one. Florida is more prepared than anybody usually for these types of storm systems to come through. But it is impossible for me to say yes or no to that. So I'm going to sip on some coffee. So let me get a more zoomed out look. This is not ideal. Yeah, there we go. So we're still maybe an hour, 2 away from this eye wall really, really, really being on shore. It's going to depend how far east it's turning for sure. Somebody said, "Can you please update the track?" I'm unsure what you mean. Um, it depends if you mean landfall is in this outer or this eye wall hitting, or if you mean the actual low pressure center here in the middle hitting. But we are hours away now. We are kind of here closing in on it, is what I would say. All right. Let me go back to the comments here. Will it hit Category 5? There's a good chance. There's a really good chance it's already at Category 5. Category 5 status is 157 miles per hour. And at 8 a.m. 2 hours ago, we were at 155. We were 2 miles per hour away. There's a good chance at that time they didn't even, they found 155 miles per hour when they went in. But possibly that it missed an area. They don't go over every single little square foot of the storm, obviously. So there might have been 157 in there somewhere, and they just missed it. But it was very close, and there's a good chance it already is at Category 5 status. If not, it's 2 miles per hour away, so it doesn't actually matter. It's literally just a number. So it's one of those situations where it's not going to make a difference. Unless it goes up like 10 or 20 miles per hour, then we start talking about an actual difference. But let's see. A lot of people asking about Category 5. I guess that's the real question, right? I mean, I would just call it if I was who's in charge of the National Hurricane Center, because I think it'll help people take it as serious as possible. So, Janelle, if it's not a Category 5 yet, then it is 2 miles per hour away from being a Category 5, which is uh, obviously uh, a relevantly small amount of difference. I can turn on the cone forecast. It is pretty clear where we're headed with this one anyway, but I can turn it on here. Let's see if this works. Hmm. So this is where it's come from. Man, what a long way it's come. It is definitely possibly a Category 5 right now. That is a good possibility. Somebody asked. So I can't get the cone to load, but I can tell you that that is kind of like the middle of the cone, or where they predict it to go. So in general, we expect somewhere right near Port Charlotte. I think this track right here, this particular one, would be worst case scenario because it would set up that eastern eye wall perfectly to send water straight up that bay. So that is definitely pretty bad. Let me just try one more time to get this cone to load in. But I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I think they will give it an upgrade here once we get our next update. So that's just my opinion. I don't see how, you know, it could for 4 hours be intensifying as much as it did, go from a 3 to a 5 almost, and then kind of just stall out here last minute. It's still fully over water here, the whole eye wall and the eye. So I think that it's still in prime conditions for development here. So I'm guessing we're going to get an upgrade uh, in the miles per hour. There's the spaghetti models. My goodness. We're just going to leave this one on screen. I think is going to be what's best. Where it's supposed to go. I would say it's maybe southeast of that line as far as where it's expected to go. Um, Colonel Freshman said 157 seems kind of arbitrary. No, why not keep the categories at like 25-mile-per-hour intervals? I'm pretty sure now. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they don't use miles per hour like primarily. Um, I'll try to confirm that. I'm pretty sure they probably use knots, so I'm sure it would be an actual like even number in knots, but obviously that doesn't translate to an even number in miles per hour. So that's probably what it is. Um, Janelle, it's gonna sit for so long. It's probably a Cat 5, or we'll get to it. I think the worst case scenario. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see this being any worse than this really. Um, you know, even if it goes up 10 miles per hour, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, or even 20 miles per hour. When you're already at 155, uh, it's already at worst case scenario. Um, this is just not a good situation. And I had a feeling the whole way through with this one that this was going to be one of the big ones in recent memory. Only because the time of year, this late September time, I don't know what it is, but I think these late season storms, like the water just down here in Florida, I say down here as if I'm there, but down in Florida where we're looking at here, um, it just the water is still so warm. These storms have such an easy time developing late season like this. Um, this one had I okay. You guys want to hear what I really have thought the entire time? I didn't say this because this is like really out there, but this entire time, this storm has reminded me of Michael, because Michael was one that I personally was able to make videos on. That was very early in my YouTube days, but I was making videos back then, and I made videos about Michael. Um, and I remember specifically with that storm, um, Hurricane Michael, I thought that it would not develop and be that strong. I thought it would be a weaker hurricane. So that was like probably the biggest bust and like worst call of my entire YouTube career here. Um, let's see. So yeah, this has reminded me of Michael the entire time, but I didn't want to say that because that then people might be like, well, it's not hitting where Michael's hitting, but that's not really the point. I think it's just people underestimating it the entire time. You know, I had a feeling the entire time that it would develop really strongly. Um, and here we are. But I'm so glad that I didn't listen to the people that told me that I shouldn't be saying a major hurricane could make impact, because that's not what the National Hurricane Center is calling for. I'm so glad I did not listen, because hopefully, even if a handful of my viewers listened and took it seriously and said, "Hey, this one might actually be a really big one," and got out, then it was all worth it. Um, Yeah, that's that. Um, you would be surprised how many comments don't even make it through to like the public post, and they stay in the held for review section, and it's just people literally trashing the fact that basically I'm being honest. I don't understand. Um, it is all about potential. It is all about potential. I love that. Um, this unfortunately usually the sky is the limit with weather, and you can tell when something has more potential or not based on where it's at, things like that. Um, and I'm always gonna go over every scenario, like, hey, this one might stay down here, but I think it could, be at this level. I really feel like it could, and sure enough, um, it's really important to warn people of the worst case scenario so they have an opportunity to make plans to get out. I think reserving information or holding back information until we know is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Uh Vicente, I'm not in a flood zone, but I'm scared about the wind and the trees near my home. Where are you located then? Um how much Bonita Beach. Sounds familiar. How much snow is that down here near Bonita Springs? Or do I have it all wrong? Hmm. That's near Bonita Springs. I would say this whole area, it's gonna be a lot. Like maximum in the storm. Like you should not be there. Yeah. Um, all these areas, there will be 10 to potentially 20 feet of storm surge everywhere. National Hurricane Center is saying 12 to 16. I'm going with a wider, broader estimate there, but 10 to 20 is possible. By the way, another interesting fact. I'm not going to say fun fact because it's not fun at all, but not a single model called for this storm at any point from what I saw for this storm to even become a category 5 or even be this strong of a category 4. Not a single model. So the lesson learned is that you have to give room for error both above and below what models are calling for. Always. Always. That is a huge lesson I've learned through this entire experience. And I had that mindset kind of coming in, and that's what's allowed for a more open minded approach and what's really allowed for this to not be something that is insanely surprising to me. I think that's something we should all take away. A little isolated storm in the northwest wall. This one right here. If you're referring to that, it is very normal. I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's go ahead and switch things up for a second here. Let's try to get the satellite imagery on screen because I do pay for the like upgraded uh, satellite imagery here on WSV3, so we might as well actually use it, right? Um, Let's see if we can actually get an HD one. I forget how to load in the actual, like, really good ones. I'm gonna load this in and just take a look. I'm gonna get this, like, out of the way so you guys don't have to see it. Oh, wow. Here we go. Here we go. Look at that. That's great. Sorry guys, I'm just not talking right now, I guess. I am trying so hard to find what I'm wanting to show you guys here, but it's just not cooperating. There we go. It's a little bit better, right? So you see how the eye, you'd usually expect it to just be this circle of emptiness, right? But there's all sorts of stuff going on in here. That is a huge sign that this storm is still developing when we have these little bitty storms that you just mentioned developing within the eye. That is a lowering pressure signal. Now it's not always perfect, but when we see these, things happening in here, that's usually not a good sign. I will say that. We can press play for a little bit here. Although I don't know how to increase the opacity here. Or maybe I do. Oh, apparently it's at 100%. That's weird. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. I've never messed around with this. Why have I never looked at this? Oh, that one's even better. So we have to wait for the sun to come up, so that's why I might as well actually just lower this to the past 2 hours so we can actually see. But we can see within there that there is a whole lot going on within the eye, and that's that's where things aren't looking too good. And a lot of the tallest clouds in the storm, which is pretty interesting, are down by Key West and the Everglades and stuff, which is another interesting thing. The eye is kind of recycling because these grays were the tallest clouds and they went away. But we can see last minute here, it looks like they're about to come back, which means it's still going to intensify further. Let's see. Now I'm like, which? All right, that's a little weird. It's true color. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now the real question is, how do I get this off? There. Okay, let's go back to radar imagery. We can actually take a look at a couple interesting things as long as this wants to cooperate. Because sometimes, there we go. All right, sometimes it acts a little weird. Electric Edge, which one's worse, Ian or Michael? Only time will be able to tell. We'll only know after. No point in even talking about it before. I can tell you this storm's hitting a worse spot. So there's that. A worse place to be getting hit for sure. Populated. You hate to see it. Also, by the way, I haven't even said this once, but be sure to share the stream. If there's anybody that doesn't know where to, or maybe you live in Florida or know people from Florida, be sure to just share it. Facebook, anything. Um, just so people are more aware of what's going on currently. I will say, as I'm taking a look at it here, this wall here is looking worse and worse. We see mostly yellows and greens in here, and it's turning more yellows, oranges, which is kind of bad timing as this is about to start really impacting these areas more and more and more. Really just not good. Any chance this will regain strength after entering the Atlantic? You're referring to this right here. And yes, not significantly, but we have seen models kind of trending at some pressure dropping within that time frame, which will only be maybe 12 hours, something like that. These start to usually move really fast. It can intensify slightly, but it's not going to have a whole lot of time, and a lot of the clouds over here will be, getting a lot of land interaction. So it's going to be not the most ideal situation for development, I would say. Let's see. Yeah, I love Savannah. So it's unfortunate that it's expected to track right over Savannah, as you can see. Literally, look at that. Look at that. Can that get any more direct? But it is expected to only be a tropical storm at this point, thankfully. So there's that. Although it was only expected to be a Category 2 at this point, so you never know. We're just continuing to watch the storm. Just really, really bad conditions here, obviously. Probably Category 5, if not a Category 4 that just feels like a Category 5 anyway. Harrison Mitchell, do you think this becomes a Category 5 before landfall? Yes, I do. I think we're going to get an update here in like 20 minutes, and I think it will be. So, there's my opinion. It's at 155. It needs to get 2 miles per hour. There's a good chance. Naples, somebody asked about Naples. Thankfully, it looks to be going a little bit north of Naples. You are going to get this outer wall here that probably is going to start to move towards Naples. Thankfully, I think for you guys, this inner wall is headed more northward, so it should be moving away. That does not mean that the impacts will not be devastating. That doesn't really guarantee anything, but it does appear like you guys won't get that inner eye wall, which overall should be taken as at least good news for now. Somebody asked what I expected to do over the next few hours. Well, by tonight, we'll be taking a look at, inland there in Florida. As far as this morning and afternoon, we expect it to move from where it's at here to there, and we'll get the worst of it here around noontime to the afternoon. So we're just starting to get this inner wall there. Let's this will be interesting. Or maybe it'll just be weird. I've always hated how WSV3 handles the velocity. It's pretty terrible. So we're just going to not look at it because it's just bad. Almost messed up my reflectivity too. Man. I was going to like take a look here at where the winds are, what the winds are looking like for these areas. For now, it's gonna be bad. We're getting an update in 20 minutes, so we'll really be able to tell for sure, guys. Yeah, we will be taking a look at potential tornadoes, especially with this, the very, very outer bands here. So up here and around here is kind of where we're watching right now for tornadic activity. These would be the traditional areas where you'd be watching for that. Yeah, Sanibel Island, very, very close to the eye wall at this point. I guess better yet, the eye wall is very close to Sanibel Island. Not looking good, guys. I'm really hoping for the best for everyone. Where would the winds be the worst at? Is the eye of the storm the worst part? I'm so glad you asked that. Weston, let me just kind of break it down. So I'll pause it to make it easier on myself here, just quickly. So we have multiple areas going on here. This is the eye of the hurricane. I'm sure you guys already know that. The eye of the hurricane. And then outside of that, and it kind of makes a donut, but outside of that, we have the eye wall. And then outside of there, we have a couple of areas which we call kind of the outer bands or outer walls here. These areas here. So again, we have the outer walls, inner wall, and then the eye. The eye in here is probably, out of this entire screen, the most peaceful place we're taking a look at, inside the eye. Once you get out of that eye wall in the middle, it is a very eerie calm. I haven't been, I'm going to say it this way, and a lot of people are going to be like, what? I haven't been blessed enough to be in the eye of a hurricane like this and see it. My grandmother has, and my grandmother has told me about it, and this was a long time ago, and she still remembers. It's a very, one of the more interesting experiences of her entire life. To me, I would love to experience that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would not, obviously. But it would be something that I would like to see before I die. The eye wall here is where you really don't want to be. This is the worst of the conditions. And when I say that we're getting, like let's say the National Hurricane Center comes out and they're like, we have 155 mile per hour winds like they did at 8 a.m. This is where they're finding those winds, somewhere in this eye wall. It's kind of safe to assume that these oranges are worse than these yellows down here, but it's going to be terrible everywhere here. The closer to the rotating storm, the faster it's spinning. No surprise there. These areas are the worst of the conditions. Out in between this inner wall and these outer bands is probably pretty calm comparatively. So it's, let's say, like Cape Coral, they got hit by this first band here, band number 1. That area came through. That was bad. Now it's, kind of calming down right now with where they're at in the lighter greens. And then this stronger wall is going to come through. And then you're going to be in the eye, although they're not going to be in the eye, I don't think, at this point. But that's how it goes. So calm in between. But these are the second worst places to be. They're here in these outer bands. And then the worst place to be is inside that inner band. I hope that answered your question. I feel like I kind of got rambling on a little bit there, but I just wanted to help out. This is a massive storm. This is probably, as far as storms that I've covered live, here, the most impressive hurricane. And it will go down in history, actually. Okay, I was too busy talking and not reading, so let me just... Is the storm going to be worse because it's stalling / moving slow? Yes. I mean, a quick moving storm would be over and done with. Um, a slow moving storm like this, it's just gonna sit, and the winds are not gonna stop. I mean, imagine the 155 mile per hour winds staying over you for possibly 30 minutes an hour at a time. Um, the longer those winds are just persistently hitting things, the more chance for a gust to increase it by a few miles per hour and really do some damage. Just the more time under those winds and the heavy rain and the flooding, the worse. The flooding is terrible because we're getting the flooding with a lot of this precipitation out ahead of it. We're soaking the ground, right? The ground is absolutely soaked from these hours and hours of heavy rainfall, inches and inches of rainfall. And then the eye wall comes through with the 155 mile per hour winds hitting slowly on top of the possibly 15-20 foot storm surge in these areas. That's incredible. That is, I mean, it doesn't get worse, really. In this case, the right side will be the worst side to be on. Maybe not wind-wise, but definitely, I mean, it could be. I think it's looking a little stronger on the west side of things, um, only because it's getting less land interaction right now. But the storm surge on that east side is going to be the worst. So I'd say the right side is going to be the worst place to be. Category 6 does not exist. So I don't think it's possible. Yes, Tampa should be safer than Sarasota and Charlotte especially. I think Charlotte is the worst place to be um, overall, in my opinion. Cape Coral too. Whew. This is just unfolding like crazy. Now, I want to take a look. It looks like a much stronger band here hit Sanibel. Yeah, just starting to get these really intense areas in the eye wall here along there. You see where the yellows and the oranges came on shore there? That is likely the worst of the conditions coming on shore for a lot of folks there, unfortunately. So, this is what we're going to do, guys. Everybody stay tuned. Everybody sit tight. I'm going to go make my breakfast. I have meal prep, so it's only going to have to be microwaved. I'm going to cut up an avocado, and I will be back. Before our 11 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, I will be back. So, I'll see you guys in just a second. I'm not even going to mute it. I'm not even going to do anything. I'll be right back. Sit tight. All right, all right, all right. I am back. Let me take a look at what's going on here. Okay, we got more bands heading on to Sanita Island, or what was it called? Was it Sanita Island? Something with an S. Sanibel. That's kind of embarrassing. Sanibel Island. I hope all of you sat tight, like I told you to, because I'm back. I haven't eaten it yet, so that would be that would be a little concerning if I ate it that fast. I just made it, and I'm gonna kind of like try to quietly eat it, probably very slowly, probably over the next hour. Oh, looks like we have some trolls. See, that's what happens when I leave. They find out, and they show up out of nowhere. I don't know. So we need mods. So Joe Paul no longer has permission to comment. Uh, Hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. We're waiting on this 11 a.m. update. It's 11:01, so it should be out. Let me try to see. You know what, guys? They still have it as 155. So they did not increase the category, the intensity, and I guarantee you with the 2 p.m. update or whatever it is, it definitely will be weaker than it is now because it'll be either very close to being onshore or onshore. So this might be one of those situations where they find later on that it's a category 5 or I don't know. I don't know what will end up truly happening. I cannot stand how low the quality is on the stream. I don't know. Like when I'm looking at it on my computer screen versus my phone screen here, it is so different. That is weird. Anyway, yeah, the 11 a.m. Update 155 still. They did not change it. So guess they didn't find anything. Yep, wind speed is 155. Um, they usually don't list the pressure. So no surprise there. Very interesting. Let's see. If it's not a category 5, it might as well be because it's just so close, guys. I mean, it's 2 miles per hour away. That is ridiculously close. Um, Somebody said they know somebody on the east side of Florida. How's it impacting those areas? Um, right now, we have these outer bands creating some thunderstorms over here. These could be tornadic. That's not something out of the ordinary. So we need to watch for that. But later on, depending on how far north you are up the coast, we could be seeing heavy rainfall and some stronger winds. I mean, we expect a Category 2 near Orlando over Kissimmee. Look at that. Kissimmee, Florida, seeing a Category 2. Usually it weakens far more than that far inland. We expect a Category 4 this far inland. Look at that. Can't make it up. Now, let's take a more zoomed in look again. We have some stronger eye wall bands finally kind of impacting these regions again. So the water is probably just starting to really get pushed up the bay here. We're a couple hours away from when we're really going to see it start to move into Port Charlotte and areas like that. Crazy stuff. A lot of Florida people in here. Yeah, last update. For those of you asking about the wind speed, we got an update. We're staying at 155 miles per hour. It's where it's been since 8 a.m. With how close it is, I anticipate that this one is likely a Category 5 to some extent. If not, it's 2 miles per hour away, so it literally will feel like a Category 5. So it will not make a difference in how bad the storm ends up being. Man, this is just crazy. Complete. Pardon me. Complete side note, guys. I don't know if there's any nutrition people in the chat, but I eat probably a fourth of a bottle of Texas Pete every single day. Hot sauce in my house goes on everything. So I don't know the consequences of that, how healthy that is. But yeah, a little concerning. You might hear me kind of sopping up some hot sauce here. It's pretty close to the mic. Well, drifting out to sea, most of the hot sauces that I choose are just like hot peppers, vinegar, and salt. Like, it's pretty clean. So I just don't know if it can cause like ulcers or crazy stuff like that. All right. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, hold on. Somebody said, what happened to the intro song in your videos? It still exists. I mean, I still have the intro. I could definitely play it. But I noticed that like 20% of people clicked off. People's attention span since TikTok got invented. I mean, you can look back to, historically Vine years ago as well. These people are used to being entertained in a 7-second period. There's no room for quietness. I lost over 100 viewers literally just from eating for like 5 minutes in this stream. For instance, the intro was making me lose like 20% of my viewers before the video even got started. So I had to make a business decision as much as I love the intro. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but the west coast of Florida like this tends to do, not get quite as many hurricanes. Yeah, so TikTok is kind of killing YouTube in a way because it's man, I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that for some reason. It's the quick form content like that, entertainment. People just don't want to watch a 10-minute video anymore. I notice a lot of my viewers are older folks that don't watch TikTok and they're used to, they can sit back and take things slow and get the information. Yeah. I think it makes sense. I don't think I have to explain any further. This storm is moving so incredibly slow. I feel like I started this stream an hour and 20 minutes ago, and I don't feel like the storm has moved that much. It really hasn't. Like, I'm looking right now. It really has not moved, like, in an hour. Very minimally. We can see the eye wall is now fully over Sanibel Island, though, here. So they are in, like, the brunt of it. Cape Coral, I mean, you're entering into the eye wall now. As this eye wall on this part is very thick because this inner and outer wall kind of meet right here, and what's in between here is a combination. Oh yeah, the intro was really pretty, and I wish it was different how things are, but 20% of views is 20% of my annual income if you put it that way. So I can't sacrifice 20% of my annual income to have an intro in my videos. Just can't afford it. I'm gonna get a better zoomed out look. What a storm, guys. I mean, this is craziness right here. Man. I actually went a little extra on the hot sauce there this time around. I hope people know how serious this situation is. I've seen a lot of people downplaying this, both in my comments, other places online. This is not to be played with, guys. It's a very, very serious storm. Unfortunately, it's more serious than anybody really anticipated to be likely. Definitely a bad situation here. I wonder how strong this storm truly is, like, deep down. Christopher, morning, DW. How's life? And also, will we see the remnants of Ian in Virginia? Yeah, we'll get quite a bit of rainfall here in Virginia. Windiness as well along the coast. Not going to be an actual tropical system by then. Let's see. The expectation is that Ian likely will reach Category 5, like, or is Category 5. And if Ian is not Category 5, well, might as well be. We're 2 miles per hour away from Category 5, so might as well be. Really, it doesn't make a huge difference here. Good for you drifting out to sea, going for a run. That's what we love to hear. Let's see. Greetings from Wisconsin. I'm glad this thing won't come anywhere near me. Well, in January, Florida will be glad that the negative 20-degree temperatures won't be coming anywhere near them. So I guess you win some and you lose some. I don't know why I just hit you with a weather roast right there, but there's that. Man, I have no idea why I'm so tired. I feel like I need to make another coffee. Streams just wear me out, guys. I paint with my dad. I do painting. Like, I don't just do YouTube. Sometimes I do actual, like, actual real people work. So I am in touch with reality. When I work, like, I don't get this tired after just an hour. But streaming is like, I don't know. I don't know how some of these guys do it for hours and hours and hours and just keep the same energy. Like, I'm just, falling apart. My sleep was a little broken last night, but I don't know. Yeah, Steve Santana, that's an interesting thing you're bringing up. Video idea, doing videos where you show fall foliage or winter snow, some nice snow videos you shoot. Um, I've been thinking about an idea, right, guys, for a long, long, long time. I want to hear what you guys would think about it because I would be showing it on this channel. But how would you guys feel like I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now? It's been a while, right? I would say in YouTube years, that's like a full career. Like, like most people, that's how long their YouTube career lasts, like 5 years or so. I personally would love to make a personal YouTube channel where I actually show my face, where I actually like show my life a little bit. And my life is very weather centered. Like the things that I look forward to are not like normal people. Like I look forward to, oh, it's going to be 60 degrees. It's going to be in the 60s next Saturday. Like that's what I'm looking forward to. Whereas most people are like, oh, I get to hang out with my friends next Friday night or whatever it is. Like I'm looking forward to like weather events in the forecast. It's crazy. So if I did make a personal YouTube channel, I feel like it would be very weather centered, like snow videos, fall foliage, traveling to go see snow, things like that. Do you guys feel like you would like to see YouTube videos of actually just me and not forecast? I don't know. I feel like I've done so many things recently, interesting things, traveling, weather related things that I wish I could make videos on, but I feel like almost unconfident about it. I don't know why. Every time I'm like, when I film these videos, I feel very confident because I'm like, oh, there's, tens of thousands of people that are looking forward to me uploading and that will watch it. So that gives you kind of like a, you don't feel stupid when you're recording a video for that many people because you have the validation, right? But when you're starting a new YouTube channel and you're like, does anybody even really care or want to see this at all? It's different. Um, let's see. I just literally saw a comment that was really interesting. I don't know where it went. I got deleted. We're getting kind of here to the victory lap in this storm where um, we're now seeing the storm um, pretty much move to the eyewall being onshore of these areas here. Cape Coral, probably conditions are worsening very rapidly here. Um, just bad. Bad, bad, bad. Yeah, I look forward to the dew points dropping as well. That's a really good point. That's, I think, the biggest thing. Um, I always am so excited for things to cool down this time of year. Like the first 70s day, I'm like, oh, fall's here. Like it's just so exciting. 60s, 50s. I'm excited. And then after a long cold winter, I'm so excited for the first 70s, the first 80s, the first 90s, the first thunderstorm, things like that. It's just, you know, always the first. I need all four seasons too. Somebody said that a minute ago. Um, I'm always looking forward to the next season that's just starting. Man, still got hot sauce going on. Bonita Springs in California. Well, I think you've put plenty of distance between yourself and the storm. That's the good news. The other good news that I can say, this is no guarantee, right? But this is your eyewall here that you want to look out for. Here's Bonita Springs. And the storm is expected to head directly northward. So this eyewall should not head further and further east to where it's going to hit Bonita Springs. So we can only hope for your house's sake and your loved ones and people that you know around Bonita Springs that this storm is just going to continue to head northward and not spread eastward. So that's the only word of encouragement that I can give you. Hopefully that means good things. Fiber Mima, thank you so much for the kind words. It's really people like you that keep me excited to upload a video every day. Wake up in the morning, make a video. There's some days where I'm not excited, but I'm like, I have to do it. You guys can probably tell. There's some days I wake up and I'm checking, I'm waking up and looking at my phone for updates. Like this morning and yesterday morning with the storm, I mean, I'm checking the National Hurricane Center right when I wake up. So just depends. But I am really excited for wintertime, snowstorms, things like that. They're at Disney. Oh man, Disney! Don't even get me started. That me and my girlfriend went to Disney. This is what I'm talking about. Like, imagine if I had my own personal channel, how many things I could have documented, gotten on video, just shared. Um, but me and my girlfriend, we went to Orlando. It was just beautiful, beautiful trip. I miss it so much. Um, we went to Disney for the first time since I was a kid, and really, Disney is just magical. I don't know how they do it. They capture a vibe in the atmosphere, and it's just an energy that I don't feel anywhere else. If that makes sense, it's very weird. SeaWorld also is really good at capturing that, just like magic. But Disney's obviously takes the crown. But I love all the parks. I love Orlando, and I want to go back badly, badly. Ugh. Yeah, it's awesome. The prices are not, so be prepared. Be prepared. That reminds me of the Lion King song. What in the world? You know, like Disney has a song about everything. Like literally, you say any phrase, and it's like, oh, Lion King. I don't know. Best animated movie of all time. Just saying. In my opinion. Yeah, but Disney has been getting political, but it's important to kind of just like take a step back and just enjoy the old films and just try your best to not like. I've heard people say it like this: they enjoy the product, not the brand. It's a good way to put it. I don't let anything or anybody ruin what I enjoy or like steal my happiness, no matter what they do. Further inland in the Kalasuahachi River, man. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Is that this one right here? Near Cape Coral and it heads inland. I don't have names of rivers, unfortunately, here. Um, Alva. I don't even know where to begin to look if it's along this, I guess. Oh, Alva. I see. I see. Um, Fort Myers and Alva. Now, Myers is a really bad place to be. Alva, obviously, we have this river, and the water is going to get sent up the river because the winds are moving. Uh, well, they're kind of curving eastward. There might be some water that gets sent up. So, storm surge in Alva could be pretty bad. Definitely Fort Myers, Cape Coral, we're going to be watching closely for very, very intense storm surge. But I think Port Charlotte here in Charlotte Park in these areas is the worst of the worst, where we're really watching for terrible, terrible storm surge. Let's zoom out again. When I'm not talking a lot because I'm tired, I don't want the viewers to like click in and they see this. So I want them to at least know what they're looking at here. We still have the buzzsaw look, although that's usually referring to satellite imagery. So we'll see. Um, I see there's some NFL conversations happening. We're getting all over the place because this storm has not changed. Marco Island. Do you know which island that is? Like, what major city should I be looking for where it's nearby? Guys, my dad beat me in fantasy football this previous week, and he had the worst team in our league. Um, Speaking of NFL, so if I seem a little down, that's why. I'm embarrassed. Half a mile inland in South Venice, located near Minnesota Key Bridge and Minnesota Key Beach. So many locations, like Florida's towns and stuff, man. I just can't. It's not as bad as the Midwest or the Plains, I'll tell you that. Oklahoma and Texas, you get some really wacky names. I don't know where Minnesota Key Bridge and Minnesota Key Beach is, so somebody could help me with that as well while I look south of Naples. Um, let's see. Yeah, the eye center really is hardly moving. Marco. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Marco. Yeah. So fortunately, this area is probably far enough south where the worst of the impacts, um, the worst of the impacts probably aren't going to arrive here, which is good news. Storm surge, some raininess, some wind definitely expected, but I think the worst of the impacts will be avoided. Now I'm gonna see between Englewood and South Venice. Where's Englewood again? Is it here? Um, Minnesota Key Bridge, half a mile inland. Yeah, I mean, this is unfortunately not a good place to be. Um, any of these areas here. We're gonna basically get the northern eye wall in these areas, which is gonna be this one. Um, this will be blowing from land over the area, so this means that basically we should be mostly getting not too much storm surge at first for these areas. It's once the storm is like here, once it's up there, you'll get some of the eye wall maybe curving back eastward, where some storm surge could occur for any of these areas along this coastline, and that's what we're really going to be watching for. Yeah, so I mean, obviously lots of rainfall there in that little inlet there. Isabella Peters, I'm speaking with here. Um, the rainfall is going to be out of control. The wind is going to be extreme. I think the worst of the storm surge might be avoided, thankfully. The very, very worst. I think it's going to be pretty bad everywhere, but I think the very, very worst will be on the eastern and southern side of the eye. The PNA probably isn't affecting the hurricane too much. That's going to be more of like a larger picture overall pattern. Uh, the PNA is. I don't think it's impacting this too much. We're really starting to get some craziness here Sanibel now north of Sanibel as well. These areas are right under the worst of the conditions there. And now you can imagine water's probably being forced northward here. So I think the surge is probably beginning. And as water gets forced, as our eye wall is here pushing northward, it's just going to really overflow for these areas. All in here and all up in here too. Everywhere in here. Likely going to be under some water from that storm surge, all being forced up that bay area, unfortunately. Yeah, I think anywhere from I've heard officially it's 12 to 16 feet, but I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 feet. Kevin Wilkes is going to be basically what you can expect in the worst of the storm surge. Obviously, expect the unexpected as well. There could be more than 20-foot storm surge if bad things happen, which it so far looks like that might be the case. Um, we should expect extraordinary amounts of storm surge to be possible overall. Let's see. I think the only good news that we've gotten from this entire storm is that it didn't track where uh, the Tampa Bay, like if it tracked here, and that eastern eye wall sent all the water this way, everywhere, everywhere in the Tampa Bay would be in big, big, big trouble. That would have been maybe pushing on like Katrina type catastrophe if that was to occur. Um, Population combined with just the shape of that bay, combined with the strength of the storm, would not have been good news. And this storm, we've now seen that it is developing into a monster, would have had more time to develop even further, which is, I mean, incredible to imagine. Hard. Man, I can't believe how slow this storm is moving. Here comes our first of probably a few tornado warnings during the stream here for this area here. Um, Towns like uh, Zolfo Springs are right in the path of it. Seems to be a moderately under populated area, but definitely we're watching these areas uh, due to this tornado warning, a radar indicated tornado warning, which means there is no confirmed tornado on the ground, but we do have that tornado warning up there to the north. As expected, it's in the outer portions of the hurricane. It's usually how that goes. Man. All right. I think I'm gonna go get another coffee here. So I'm gonna go do that, make a coffee, hopefully get my energy levels up. I also have a headache for some reason. It's just not looking good for me. But we're gonna keep streaming here. I'll be right back, folks. Don't you even worry. right. One coffee. Made and prepared. Let's see. So this eye wall is now moving. It is moving pretty quickly. I'm back. I was AFK. I see that literally, it's like I leave for 5 minutes and then somebody shows up that shouldn't be here. They know when I'm here. They know when I'm gone. They just know. I don't know how they know, especially if they're bots. So it has to be a real person just watching and waiting. That's so weird. Okay, now not only are conditions obviously deteriorating where this eye wall is now starting to impact areas, but also the Tampa Bay area, we're seeing kind of this outer wall start to really get close to you guys. So things are getting pretty bad. Cape Coral, things are probably worsening. Sanibel, actual Sanibel there, probably things are getting pretty bad. But here near this part of the island, conditions are probably getting better as you're approaching the actual eye. Up north here, we're starting to get these areas as well. I don't know what these islands are called. I'm sure there's actual beaches there that people go to. Who knows? But looks pretty bad. These areas, Englewood, Rotunda, these areas are going to start to get the impacts from the eye wall as well, as this is heading directly kind of northeastward now. The storm has trickled further and further east than expected. Let's see. Always watching. Wow, Englewood already getting that kind of damage. They're not even in the eye wall. That's kind of a testament to how intense this storm is. We're not even in the eye wall yet and getting some damage. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I love personal weather stations. I nerd out about that stuff. I actually recently moved, and my weather station is still at my parents' house, and I need to get that and bring it here because I love knowing the exact precise temperature, the exact precise rainfall amount, things like that at my house. I don't know how to explain it, but if you're a weather nerd, highly, highly recommended. Somebody in Port Charlotte is staying. Yeah, that is the worst place to be. I've kind of highlighted that throughout the stream as being the place to not be. Um, Pretty bad. My head, guys. I don't know what's going on. This sounds terrible, I know, but it's kind of the headache where like you need a coffee. But I'm on coffee number 2. I usually only drink one, but yeah, I think Port Charlotte is going to get the worst storm surge out of anywhere. That's not a guarantee, but seems seems probable to me. It's kind of interesting to note here that these areas here seem to be intensifying this band. This outer band, it's forming kind of a new one here, and that could be increasing the impacts that we're seeing at the ground there, unfortunately. As the eyeball is kind of approaching um, the area where we're expecting things to really get bad. So this is going to be kind of the time to really, really watch things. Sorry, I'm just resting my voice here. The storm is moving so slow, I have to preserve myself here. I need to go to bed. At 12 p.m., that's not going to look well for me. I have had a lack of sleep the last few days. I'm okay, though. Gonna make sure I get good sleep tonight. Eat chocolate. It's not part of the plan. I'm a pure protein kind of guy. Protein and fat. Kind of keto, a little bit. For the most part, I say no to carbs. Again, if I make a personal channel, I'll talk more about that. There's multiple things I would talk about. I should just do it. I'm not getting any reports of current storm surge numbers. The only one I know is Key West had 10-foot storm surge when that was definitely not expected. Other than that, I have no news on any numbers. What's weird is my headache is kind of like a sinus one, so who knows? I've been having those all fall. I don't know about you guys, but really bad sinus headaches. So now the eye wall, we see an outer wall forming here with the remnants of that original eye wall, and then we see this kind of forming here. So, definitely some interesting things taking place. Probably what I'm going to do is rest for a minute here. Maybe take a 10, 20, 30-minute break here real quickly. Might eat lunch during that. If you haven't noticed already, I eat a lot. And then I'm going to come back.